rotation. The men have completed 2. Let's take a look first at the scoring for the women. Margaret Ulett, 9.8 to Carol Ulrich, 9.625. The women have just vaulted. Now, the men have done 2 rotations, as I said. It is Kyle Asano against Jorge Garcia. Jorge Garcia leads by 0.3, 17.5 to 17.2. And continuing now with the rotation, the men have moved to the still rings. The women will compete on the uneven parallel bars. First up, Kyle Asano.
This is an important test for these young gymnasts because both of them had trouble in the second event, the pommel horse. It'll be interesting to see and test their mental stability here and see if they can pick it up and carry on from having an early mistake. There's a kip to a cross, good strength move, and a back kip to a handstand. Now you'll find that the younger gymnasts tend to be really good swingers on the rings, but have not yet matured into the physical strength that it takes to be really strong. And you can see there he had some trouble. His handstand is a little weak and he's a little wobbly. But as he gets a little stronger and as he gets a little older, he'll mature into the strength that it takes to be really solid. But you can see, oh, he is really having trouble on those handstands. Front giant. And once again, though, a big swinger, he can do good giants and a good layout double back. But controlling the handstands takes an incredible amount of strength, and he'll just have to mature into that.
And that's really the difference between men's and women's gymnastics, where maturing helps the male gymnast. As they get older, they start peaking in their early 20s. This kid's only 17 years old. His body's physically just not strong enough.
And he really had some trouble there. He did a press. He went up too fast. He was a little loose, lost balance. But once again, the guy can swing like crazy because he just bails right out there with a good body line and a really high layout double back. He'll get a little stronger, and he'll put that together and be a really fine ringman.
Well, this is called still rings. Years ago, I think it was like 40 years ago, it was the flying rings, when the rings used to swing back and forth. And
sometimes you end up doing that. Not on purpose.
That's why they named it still rings, to remind us. 8.65 for Kyle Asano. Again, Jorge Garcia, our next competitor, holds a slight advantage, 0.3. 0.3 of a point over Kyle Asano, and could really distance himself here if he does a fine job.
There's a pull to a front lever. Keeps his body horizontal. Kip to a cross. Presses to a handstand. He is a little weak, but he is significantly stronger than Asano. He's having trouble with the handstands, but where do you see this guy swing? There's that double whippet or Yamawaki. He's having a little trouble controlling the rings, but he told us earlier he was planning to cut a triple back off the rings today. Let's see if he goes for it. No, he doesn't. He's going to do a really nice, clean layout double back and go with consistency. As we mentioned earlier in the show, consistency really is going to be a key to advancing to the further rounds.
That is so important. I think he was right in forgetting the triple back.
That pike position Yamawaki or double whippet, kind of a crazy sounding name, but really interesting looking move. Here he just bails away, really high, clean layout double, and an excellent landing.
He stuck it.
Maybe he'll save the triple for a later round if he advances on.
And he should outscore Kyle Asano. Again, the score for Asano is 8.65. There you see the number for Jorge Garcia, 9.55. So he is widening the gap between himself and Kyle Asano. Right now, Jorge Garcia looks like he's headed to the next round. Right now, we are headed, though, to the uneven parallel bars, where Carol Ulrich is ready to mount. At the U.S. Olympic trials, she finished 15th in the all-around. She's an up-and-comer for the United States program.
Glide kip cast to a full pirouette right off the bat. Good opening moves. Handstand front. Oh, she didn't have the kind of momentum that she really needed to get the height above the bar to make the catch on that straddle front, or a Jaeger, as invented by an East German gymnast named Jaeger. She has to traverse bars. She has to work both the high bar and the lower bar. She has to show changes of directions as she did with her mount. And she dismounts with a toe on, front with a hat.
They're falling off the uneven. Major deduction.
Right here, she hops, swings through, and she just really cuts her momentum short. She's low and not close enough. Actually, if she were a little higher, I think she would have rotated into the bar and have been able to catch that. But there's a good cast to a handstand, good straight body position. Giant, a slight bend of the arms, toe on, front with a half dismount in one step.
Now, already she trails her competitor, Margaret Ulett, by .225.
8.85.
I think you heard our public address announcer, Jan Clare, give us the bad news. 8.85 for Carol Ulrich. Although when you add a half a point for falling, it'd be a 9.35, maybe another 10 to 2 for general impression. And she really has herself a 9.5 routine or better had she stayed on. But that relieves some of the pressure for Margaret Ulett, who's up now.
She was 12th in the all-around in last year's Junior Nationals. But she's in with the big girls now, and she got off to a great start on vaulting. Here comes her release move. There's a reverse hecht. Straddle back over to the low bar. She has to traverse the bars, as I mentioned earlier. She can do no more than 5 skills on the high bar, and then she has to get down, do some couple of skills on the low bar, and then get back up to the high bar and finish as she did with the Giant through to a tuck double back.
Margaret Ulett responded beautifully to the no-pressure situation. After she saw Ulrich fall off, the monkey was off her back.
She does a good job on this release move. This is the reverse hecht. It's really high. She barely clears the bar, and she does a good job at making the regrasp and straddling back over to the low bar. Giant to the top. Good, clean line on top. High, tuck double back, almost as high as Brandy Johnson's in one little step.
And the number we have for Margaret Ulett is 9.25. She easily beats the 8.85 of Carol.